news this week, we introduce ourselves and our stories to the world. We learn each other's games of the year. What gaming event in 2021 do we think will change the industry moving forward? Extra, extra, hear all about it! Hey guys, and welcome to Extra Extra, your weekly gaming news podcast. I, of course, am Dean. You know me well from the channel already. And joining me is Landen.
What's going on, guys?
And James.
What's going on?
Alright, so I think, when I was in college, actually, for video game development, I had to take a speech class. And so in that speech class, they just say that when you start a speech, you have to establish what your expertise is. What is your knowledge about that subject? So I figure, what better way to introduce ourselves than to actually go through our stories of gaming. So,
great.
Landen, do you want to start with your story?
Well, I want to start. Yeah, I got mine locked and loaded, man. My story. What started me in gaming? I was about 6 years old. I had an older brother who was 14 years older than me, and he was in the Navy, and he was over in Japan, and he found a PS1 for real cheap, and he bought every single game he could get his hands on, and he sent it on over to America. And it was a big old binder with probably 60 or 70 PS1 games. And that was my first, real console that I got to play on my own and really experience and try whole loads of different games. It was phenomenal. I would put a game in for about 2 or 3 minutes. If I didn't like it, throw it out, put in the next one. It was awesome. That PlayStation 1 was what really got me into games and kind of set the impression to me, why I play so many. My first impression to video games was such a large scale and variety of different shit I could play. And now I just play everything, it feels like. That's really that's my origin story. It's short and sweet, but I appreciate my older brother for setting up what I do with the majority of my time. So,
yeah. What about you, James?
Whenever I was around probably 4 or 5, my dad had a SNES with a couple games, Super Mario World, Contra 3, and me and him would stay up all hours of the night playing those games to completion. Now I know Super Mario World for the SNES like the back of my hand, still do.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
But when I was around 7, though, no, probably 6 or so. My cousin gave me his original Xbox JTAG. So, a library of 70-something games.
Hey! Nice.
Yeah, that's kind of where it all kicked off. And then Halo was one of the games on there, so that kind of kickstarted one of my favorite FPS franchises.
A great way to kick it off, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
phenomenal game.
It is a great game. So for me, I had played games before because I had friends that had, Sega Genesis and NES and stuff. But my first console was actually the Game Boy Pocket, which was the regular Game Boy but smaller and in different colors. I had an ice blue Game Boy Pocket.
Hey.
And it came bundled with Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. And in addition to that, it was a Christmas present. So in addition to that, I also got Pokemon Blue. So those were my first 2 games and my first system. And Legend of Zelda is still my favorite franchise of all the franchises.
Good choice. Good choice.
It's still a franchise I really like to get into.
Oh, you've never played Zelda?
I've played a few of the games, but like not to completion.
Oh.
With like wonky emulators, not having like it's
Along the line, we will fix many good Zeldas I'm sure you've missed, man.
I'm sure.
I've gotten to the point where I've played them so many times that now I pretty much just play randomizers, just so like it changes the experience a little bit. And
that sounds interesting.
yeah, they basically take all the items and they rearrange them. So, you know, you'll have to go. There's always one dungeon that it's arranged in such a way you have to return to that dungeon like 5 or 6 times. So it's always like a joke. Here we go again. Lost it. But yeah, it's a great franchise. What are your guys' favorite franchises?
James, you want to take it away, or anything
I got
ready?
this. I'm pretty partial to the Dark Souls franchise.
Nice.
I'm playing Demon Souls right now.
I beat it. My buddy got a PS5 whenever they were dropping initially, and it's like, I played through that. It was great.
From Software being a rock star of a company, man.
Yeah, I can't wait for
Elden Ring, just around the corner, man. Just around the
day
corner.
after my birthday.
Hey, I got 2 days off of
awesome.
work. So I'm just gonna be full couch potato mode on that. Man, I'm so excited.
As long as my computer can run it. That's my one concern.
So I got like a that's like a love-hate franchise, or what was your?
Yeah, favorite franchise.
So the love part is that I absolutely adore the games. The hate part is that nobody really respects them, and I understand why. But the Gears of War franchise, man, I'm all in on that franchise. They're so basic. It's just like there's no real story there, but nothing better than chainsaws and people getting cut in half, curb stomps, and ripping people's arms off. And you got, people say what little minimal story is in those games. I extract every little bit you can out of it, and I adore all of it. I read the books, man. I'm all about the lore. I've got the statues. I've got the replica guns. I got the whole nine. I got the replica gun right behind me. I can't get enough of it, dude. And I am Team PlayStation, but when it comes to Gears of War, the new Gears of War comes out, hopefully the end of this year, probably not. I will be getting an Xbox Series X of that Gears of War style limited edition console. It will be happening. I don't care how broke I'll be.
One of the few times I've actually cried while playing a video game and just had to stop was Dom's death. And
spoilers. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, dude, I being as into those games as I was, Dom's death was huge. I didn't full on cry, but I will not lie, I definitely teared up for sure. And then I was playing 4-player co-op, and I had 3 other friends right next to me, just like, oh, look at Landen, he's crying. Like, you don't care, whatever. It's emotional, and it was great. What a phenomenal moment in gaming. Yeah.
In no other game are you running through a giant worm with a chainsaw.
Oh my god!
Like cutting arteries.
You get me, man.
It's great.
Yelling F-bomb this, F-bomb that. I cannot get enough.
Mass gores.
Mature.
Absurdities. Yeah. It's awesome.
Bad story, but I skipped out of summer school so I could play Gears of War on my new 360, and I got every single achievement in the first Gears of War game, which is tough to do, man. It is tough to do. And the whole summer dedicated to it, and all I did was get a little bit dumber. Worth.
I tried getting, I noticed the achievements were fairly easy to get. It's just there's a couple of grindy multiplayer achievements.
The multiplayer is very grindy, and then the campaign was very hard on the hardest difficulty, very hard. But over time you'll get it.
I've gotten to the final boss on the first one on the hardest difficulty, and I have not beaten the final boss.
10,000 kills on multiplayer. Whew.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they call it the achievement. Sorry, is called Seriously. And then Gears of War 2, they have the same achievement called Seriously 2.0. Instead of 10,000 kills, it was 100,000 kills.
You gotta love whenever the game mocks you for actually putting in the time for their achievement.
Yeah, right? Like, seriously, you got this? Come on, man. Come on.
I think one of the Modern Warfare games has one called Go Outside, and that's for like reaching max prestige.
Go outside.
Yeah.
No, I will not.
So let's move on and let's discuss what our personal game of the year for last year was.
2021 game of the year, huh?
Yep.
I'm gonna let you guys kick off with this one. I need a little bit more time to think because I think I got it narrowed down to about 2 or 3 personal choices.
Okay. I can go. I've got a lot of stuff going on at home with I'm renovating my house and everything, so gaming ended up moving down the priority chart a little bit. So I only played 3 games that came out last year. And those 3 games were Halo Infinite, Psychonauts 2, and Metroid Dread. I have not played enough of Infinite to make a determination, so I'm just going to go ahead and scrap that. So
Okay. I've heard good things.
Between Metroid Dread and Psychonauts 2, and I love the Metroid games, but I'd have to give it to Psychonauts 2.
I feel like
It's hilarious. It's solid platforming. The powers, switching between the powers is a little tedious, I'll admit, but the powers are all fun. The enemies are aptly named. Like, there's one that's called Bad Idea, and it basically throws explosives at you because bad ideas can blow up in your face.
okay, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great game.
I heard it was. I feel like it was a little slept on. I haven't played it. I played a little of the first one, but like a lot of people are saying it's game of the year, but no one's really giving it the time of day or the fame that it deserves.
I mean, it's Tim Schafer too, so like it's got one of the best dudes in gaming behind it.
I would say he is a genius in his own unique way. I think I narrowed it down. So it came down to these 2, and one is Resident Evil 8 that came out this year. Oh, no, sorry, last year. Come on, Landen.
Yeah.
And Resident Evil 8, which I'm a Resident Evil guy. There's been ups and downs with the franchise for sure, but it was a short game. That's why it's not getting my game of the year, but it's runner-up because it made me feel like an old school video game again, and having actual bosses and good structure to the map and continuing the story from 7. I appreciate that as well, and throwing in some gems with Chris Redfield. As being a Resident Evil fan, it did a lot for me, so I appreciate a lot of that game, but it did not make Game of the Year. What made Game of the Year is Guardians of the Galaxy, man. That game is fucking awesome and so good. The story, the dialogue. I mean, I know it's also a PS4 game, but the graphics were still pretty good to me. Like I said, the dialogue is non-stop. I'm laughing or smirking throughout the entire video game. Like, the entire thing. The only thing that lacks in Guardians of the Galaxy is combat. And if you can get over the combat being like a 7 or 8 out of 10, the rest of the game is 10. Like, every bit of that game is 10. There's so much love put into that. So much good dialogue. I'll say that again and again. There's so much good dialogue. The voice actors had to put thousands of hours into it because they're nonstop talking through the entire game and making me laugh at every point. It's so good. Rant is over. Yeah, game of the year for me, Guardians of the Galaxy, for sure.
Yeah, I've heard great things about that game from our friend of the show, Cole. He's said some good things about that game, too.
So good.
Any of these superhero games I've played have always been really hit or miss, but I'll have to look into that. It's like seeing that it was another Marvel game kind of dissuaded me from looking into it, but
there's a lot of love put in the game for sure. They felt more like my Guardians of the Galaxy than the actual movie's Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'll have to check it out then.
Oh, hopefully I didn't overhype it.
So I just recently got the during the Steam sale for around Christmas time, I got all 3 of the complete editions of the Batman games, so I'm gonna finally play through those for the first time.
Oh, that's good. You're gonna have a lot of fun with that. You're gonna have a lot of good fun with that.
Yeah, they look like a good time.
So, James, what do you got for Game of the Year, man? What are you thinking?
There wasn't too much that came out last year that really stood out to me, but I guess I haven't gotten around to playing it just yet, but Neo Replicant was the one that caught my attention. It was like, that was a PS3 title, and I skipped from PS2 to PS4, so I completely missed that one, but playing Neo Automata, like, that's like the only game that's like actually brought me to tears with the ending of it.
Which ending?
I got all of the endings.
Well, I played through it just the one time, but I do appreciate that game for having the multiple endings and the uniqueness to that game that not very many other games bring, for sure.
Like that one ending where it's playing, it's like you decide to turn back, start over again, because like you don't want all the things that have happened, all of the characters and all of the ties that have been made to be erased. So it's like you're fighting in the credit sequence, you're fighting the creators of the game to turn back time, to start everything over again, so nothing's lost. And then Weight of the World starts playing, and it's just like, oh my god. You've got all these other ships. Yeah. You've got other ships from other people that have sacrificed their save games for you to be able to have another try if you mess up. It's like, and whenever you beat it, you can sacrifice your save state to give another player another chance at actually successfully saving their world, pretty much.
That's dope. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's such a unique ending, but it's like, God, it hit hard.
Yeah, Nier Automaton was a great game, and I heard great things about Nier Replicant. I know it was a PS3 game, but I heard it was a really good remake or remaster. Sorry, for the newer gen consoles.
Yeah, I've heard they've done a good job with it. So I need to get around to that.
I don't know if it makes. I'm sorry. I don't know if it makes it. But Demon Souls, man. I know we were talking about that in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of like last 2020 a little bit, right? It came out at the end of 2020.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a bit of a late.
I still want to give a shout out to that game. That game is, I know, like, From Software does a phenomenal job, but Blue Point Studios, who remade it and made it look as good as it does on my PS5.
Remaster was phenomenal.
Oh my gosh, it looks gorgeous. I was just playing it yesterday, man, and it's gorgeous. It's phenomenal, jaw dropping in certain moments. The environments and the graphics are so good. Yeah. It really makes me appreciate, the more I play it, From Software's map development and like how well you can navigate through things and still feel like you're experiencing a new area even though you've been in the same area for like 10 hours sometimes.
Yeah, I was completely taken aback by that because like I'd played through the original release of the first Dark Souls game, and like whenever the re-release of it came out, it was like they fixed some of the lighting. They took that horrendous filter out of Blighttown. But like ultimately it didn't look too much different graphically. Like it was samey. But then seeing Demon Souls and then the remaster, it was like a completely different game.
Yeah. They did a really, really good job on that one. They put a lot of love in that game.
Yeah, and for that to be I think that was a great flagship for the PS5 coming out.
Oh my god, the fact that you can only get it on PS5 is like, that's a console seller itself.
Right.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Game is great.
Just gotta wait another 2 or 3 years before we can actually get a hold of the console.
There's a good chance of that, man. There's a strong chance of that.
This is I've been out of the PlayStation ecosystem since the PS3 because I could not afford a PS3 for sure. But
I don't blame you.
And then all my friends were then in the Xbox ecosystem. So this is the PlayStation where I'm trying to get back into the ecosystem, and yeah, it's so tough.
Yeah.
All right. So here's an interesting question for you guys.
All right, what do you got?
So, what event that happened last year, whether it's a genre taking off, whether it's, a specific news story, just anything gaming related that happened last year that you think could affect or change the industry for now on, like for all?
I'd say, regardless of your thoughts on Facebook,
You about to say metaverse?
Yeah,
man, that's what I'm about to say, man. I was about to say this. As stupid as people might think the metaverse might be, and what Facebook is doing, the fact that they're bringing VR and virtual reality more to light and more to the modern day and age is a huge step for video games. Video games, put PSVR and Oculus have been stepped out, and HTC Vive, they stepped out. There's an audience. It's a big audience, not video game big audience, but it's got its audience. But for Facebook to come out and move forward and try to push the VR forward even more, it's people like Facebook and other companies that's going to help the video game industry strive even more, bring more people's attention to VR and making it seem like it's actually more valuable to use and buy, because it's really not. It's getting more and more cheap, and more games coming out for it. I would love an Oculus Quest 2. Like, I really do want one.
It's a great headset. Like,
wireless. I want Beat Saber. I play Beat Saber on my PSVR right now, and there's wires everywhere. Getting it set up sucks. It's atrocious. But
I had the Oculus Rift and the wires with that. It was like you'd yank your headset off or rip a cord out of your.
Not to say that it's not fun. Like, it was fun and it's a great experience. But as soon as you take the cords away, you put the Oculus Quest 2 on your head.
It's completely different.
Completely different. And then like the games are just running out for like crazy, coming out more and more. So I'm really hoping that like VR can start have a good place with video games moving forward.
I'm sure it's definitely going to make more incentive for it, because there's a lot of these third party or fellow companies that are making peripherals and accessories for these VR headsets and making their own virtual reality headsets. And it's like, and for it only being like $300, I think, for the Oculus 2, the Quest 2 rather, it's really easily approachable to the average consumer, not having to dump over $1,000 into a system that you need a very specific setup in a completely empty room for.
Yeah, you can do this
wherever you want to. You can show it to your family, take it to your friend's place. Like,
exactly. So it used to be like $1,200 and a $2,000 computer to be able to get into the VR space.
Right.
And now it's $300, and you're good to go. Take it wherever you want, like you said. I am happy with where it's leading.
It's not wireless, but I'm very interested in the PSVR 2. All the they dropped all those specs like this week, actually.
Very high end.
They have eye tracking and all sorts of stuff. That's crazy.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, this eye tracking. It's supposed to be in 4K, 2K upscale to 4K, 120 hertz. There's some good stuff in there. There's no light sensors. It's all motion, just like the Oculus Quest 2.
And it's not wireless, but it's only one wire. So
it's manageable.
It being one wire I like wireless, but I want to play high end VR games too. So that wire will allow that.
Yeah, you got to make a compromise there, but it's worth it for some experiences.
Yeah. So VR is definitely moving forward for sure.
I'd say like another one would be I think it was in the beginning of this year, the Bethesda saying for sure their games are not going to any other consoles, right? Didn't they say that at the beginning of this year?
Now if we just get them to release something other than Skyrim.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure I think it might have already been said, but like they're like, hey, nail in the coffin, like the Starlink or what is Starlink, right? Whatever that is, space game, Skyrim.
It's
I don't think it's called Starlink. I think that might be from something else.
And then you saying Star has now brought me thinking Star Citizen, and it's definitely not Star Citizen either. That game's
Star,
never coming out.
Star something. Starfield.
Starfield, that's it. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Starfield confirmed going to be on Xbox and PC only, or Xbox PC Games Pass. I mean, I think everybody saw that coming for an $8 billion purchase. Like, I could see why they would do that.
Yeah,
but
they bought.
still, it's, kind of sucks for everybody else.
Yeah, they didn't buy Bethesda for more than Marvel and Star Wars combined.
Yeah,
to not have it exclusive.
Exactly.
But they still bought it for half of what the Farmville developer was just
Zynga or whatever. Yeah.
Zynga.
Yeah, they got bought out by like 14 or 15 trillion, not trillion, billion.
Yeah, it was something
an insane amount of money. Yeah. I guess it's worth it. Mobile.
I'm gonna have to go with, and you're starting to see some of this happen now, but the whole Activision Blizzard thing, all of the stories coming out about that. The first American video game company to unionize. It's a smaller developer. I forget their name. It's like a little indie, but like the fact that we now have that movement towards unionization, because
somewhere to move forward from.
Like I mentioned, I was going to school to be in game development. Well, my wife ended up getting pregnant and I had to drop out, but I never went back because just, first of all, heads up, the three of us all work at the same place, for our listeners. After my 4 years, I would have been down 600,000 for the schooling. And then I would have been making less than what I'm making now.
Wow.
To start off.
Yeah.
And just that alone, you even take the harassment and everything out, which is serious. I'm not trying to downplay any of that, but like something needs to happen. Like,
yeah, you're almost better off just going with indie anymore.
Yeah.
Or starting your own small studio or something of the sort. Like, even like making your own assets and doing game jams.
Yeah. Sure.
More freedom, not have to deal with that culture that is in a lot of larger studios, and not be down 600.
Yeah, like I said, there is that movement towards unionization, and it's finally happened. So I think moving forward, we're just going to keep seeing that. And we talk a lot about it being, Activision, Blizzard, but like, we've had the same story going on, for a long time with Ubisoft. Ubisoft still is in the middle of their whole thing. We've had it with Riot Games, although they've seemed to have finally cleaned up their act, but it wouldn't hurt to have unionization. You look at Crunch. And there's a lot of developers that
70 and 80-hour work weeks.
Yeah, and they're unpaid. Like all the overtime is unpaid because you're salaried. So like, it's bad. That's something that needs to change for sure, and it looks like it is changing.
Yeah, a lot of companies are trying to move, change the narrative on that. Like Sony mentioned that, like when they made Ratchet and Clank, they said none of this game was made under crunch. Not one bit of this game was made under crunch. And they're doing the same thing with God of War and the new Horizon game. Yeah. So that is great steps moving forward. And honestly, less crunch means like less stressed employees. Less stressed employees means better games. So like honestly, a union and less crunch can only help everyone.
Yeah. And you don't want to end up with a situation like, even then when you are, looking at, or do we delay a game? You don't want to end up with a cyberpunk. So
Yeah.
maybe don't crunch your employees and delay the game. Like, delay the game to the point where it'll be ready and the employees don't have to crunch to get to that point.
Don't overpromise to your fans as well. How about
that's also
that's a big thing.
with that game, I knew that there was something like there was some feature creep happening when they mentioned customizable genitalia. This is a first person game. You'll never see that. Why would I need to customize that?
Why? What are you? Yeah, you're diving into some weird stuff here. Unneeded weird stuff.
They were coming under a lot of hellfire during the production of that game too.
I don't even think if the game released now would be what they said it was going to be. There's not like a lot of that game was not there. But yeah, that is a great representation of crunch leading to bad video game. Like crunch can be bad.
I think that's kind of a situation that I don't know if any of you really played Halo Infinite multiplayer.
Yeah, I played a good bit. I'm Diamond 3 right now.
Oh, there you go. It's just like all the promises and there's no game modes to pick between. There's three or four that you can cycle between, a small handful of maps.
Yep.
And it's like Oddball's in there. Out of all the games I've played, I've never played Oddball once.
Jank Battle Pass. Yeah, there's
the Jank Battle Pass.
That game got pushed back a whole year, and still.
Yeah, and it got scrapped after 3 or 4 years into development of it. What got put out is what they've been working on for 2 or 3 years.
I'm not a big multiplayer guy. I've been enjoying the Halo Infinite campaign, like I mentioned way earlier in the podcast, but yeah, they the multiplayer. It seems like they were just trying to put out as little as possible, so that way they can constantly be expanding, and it's just make sure you have enough for people to stay with you for those.
Right, if you just trickle down that's what a lot of people think is they're trickling down content. They already have it ready to go. They're just going to gradually release it. Yeah. But yeah, if you only have that limited amount, you're not getting them the freedom to pick the game mode they want. It's going to get tiresome sitting through those quick plays, waiting for the right game mode. And there's been charts that have shown the fluctuation of player base. Just something needs to be changed. I know they just added the Slayer playlist, which I'm sure is going to help a lot, considering that was one of the major complaints. But
yeah.
Overall, I'd hate to see it crash because, like I said, I love that franchise.
I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
Is still my favorite. But.
I think we still got another they'd have to have a whole year of bad decisions before the game went anywhere. I'm liking it.
Be for 10 years, I think.
It made
so.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. That's what they say.
I don't know about 10 years, bro. This is the same thing about Destiny 1. This game's going to last 10 years.
Yeah,
3 years later, we're Destiny 2.
Destiny
what happened?
2.
What happened?
Completely flaked on that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, that's all we've got. So do you guys have any closing statements? Do you want to plug something?
Oh my god, I would love to plug something. Thank you so much. I'm gonna take over if you don't mind. So I am Landen, but I also go with my handle is LMJ the Hitman. That's LMJ the Hitman. That's my handle, and I'm on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and that's really about it. But those are the 3 platforms that I try to pump the stupidest shit I can out there. That's me. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LMJ the Hitman. I got all kinds of weird shit. Oh, you know what? This is the most important one. I'm also on Twitch. I should have led with that one. LMJ the Hitman on Twitch as well. I mainly play FPS, and like I said earlier in the beginning of the podcast, I have a problem with playing just everything. So any major release, I got to get my fucking hands on that shit. Any other kind of console and exclusive, I'm probably going to get the console and the exclusive to get my hands on that shit. So I'm always playing all kinds of weird shit. It's hard for me to stay consistent, but the thing I am consistent on is FPS shooters like Halo and Call of Duty. I am one of those guys, but I play everything else. So again, I'm LMJ the Hitman. Love me, hate me, come find me. blah, 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 blah.
James, you got anything?
Not particularly.
Ladies and gentlemen, James!
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I think this we were in, 35 minutes in? I think this went pretty well. We have 3 topics, and I love talking about video games, guys. I really do. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is what I'd like to do for a living. I know that's not what we're doing right now, but one day, if I could make even a minimal living, just a basic needs of living off of just talking about video games, my heart would be in the right place.
Yeah.
100%.
I love video games, but I love entertainment, entertaining people even more. So, like, doing this with you guys, like, that's what I'm all about.
No.
We were discussing, for the listeners out there, we were planning the episode, and like I said, we wanted to introduce ourselves so you get an idea of where we're coming. And you're like, we can go ahead and do this because, like, there's no big stories that ever happen in January. And then so many big stories happen.
Yeah, it's just kind of unfolding like crazy.
So I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys can find me at on both Twitter and Twitch at the Dean Slater. And that's all I got too. So thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, if you're listening to podcast services, thank you for listening. We might not be releasing this till the second episode because, like, the submission processes and everything for some of those platforms, but we are working on getting ourselves on all the platforms. So on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications.
Yes.
On the podcast services, give us 5 stars or whatever rating system they have. Like, give us, a good review. We're still working, this is our first podcast together, so we're trying to work things. So don't leave us a 1-star review because we're just starting out. Like, that's
Hey, it might be 1-star quality, but we need your 5-star, attitude on this podcast. So please help us out.
Give us your pity stars.
Yeah, the pity stars. The pity stars.
we're definitely working on it. So,
hell yeah.
all right, that's all we got for you. So we will let you go for this episode. Take care.